What's up, everybody? Welcome to another week of Free Thinkers. I'm one of your hosts, Q. We have our reoccurring side host, Denise, who just hops in on all of our shows when we are not able. And Denise is here also, and Nikki will be here shortly. But I think we have an interesting conversation for you guys on today. So remember to like, to comment, let us know that you're there, and to share. And in addition, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube page. If you guys don't know already, things change. And we want to be prepared to adjust with the changes. So if one day our Facebook page is not available anymore, then you'll also be able to catch us through YouTube. We're still working on getting on many different platforms so that this can be seen everywhere. Now, if you would like to be a part of Free Thinkers, this is open. This is an open conversation. So don't think it's just me, Denise, and Nikki, and Ivory, and Jules. And you have the ability to participate as well. All you have to do is go to our Facebook page and go to the link that's under the video. If you have trouble finding it, just shoot us a comment in the comment thread, and we'll help paste that as well. Just keep in mind that there is adult conversation, adult content, and adult language. So that's your warning. And also, if you are participating, make sure you got something in your ears. I'm back to the old headphones now. Those earbuds were starting to get on my nerves, so I changed that up. And yeah, just so the noise is not bleeding, just make sure you got something in your ears. So this we're gonna get right in, because I'm really trying to do better with time, making sure that I stay on time. We had to make a hard close on High IQ yesterday to the I don't think my other co-host agreed with that, but like, hey, all right, gotta cut. I had to be up at 4:15 in the morning. I'm like, I gotta go to sleep now. And I had to get up, get on the road, and go to San Antonio. So I'm tired even now, but yeah, fun time. But we're gonna have a good conversation. I think I like this. I want to I know Nikki should be on soon. I want to get her take, because I think this is more her idea. So I want to get the angle of where she's coming from. But for those of you who do not know, today we're going to be talking about bad advice, bad sayings, the bad cliche sayings that people say that sound good, but either they're completely incorrect, or they're not applicable. They're not it doesn't work in real time. You know, you ever hear people tell you certain stuff and that doesn't work in real time, or people will tell you something from their own narrow-minded perspective, and like, your life is not my life. This is a simple stupid example that doesn't mean a whole lot. Of course, you guys know I've been in sales for a very long time. I was doing sales at a job about 5-6 years ago, and one of the girls, shout out to Amber. I remember Amber was training me on different things, and she was a beast. And she would get on those phones, and she would nope, you said you're gonna close today, we need to do this deal today, don't hang up on me, we need to get this taken care of. And she would just be cutthroat. Wow. And she did not take no for an answer. She was very aggressive. But you know, she was a 120-pound white girl, and that translated through the phone. And she would tell me, Q, you gotta be more aggressive. You gotta be stronger. You gotta do. I'm like, okay, yes, you are right, but however, if I talk to these business owners the same way that you would, I would be in HR by the end
Yep.
of the day.
Yep.
Everything, just because it's applicable for you, doesn't mean that I can get away with doing the same thing. Of
Facts.
course, many people know this. Hey, you got to stand up for your rights, and the same. We've many of us have seen the way older white men or sometimes white women go back and forth and have conflict with the police, and they're arguing over a ticket, and this is outrageous. I can't believe this, and I see people balling up the ticket, throwing it out the window. If I ever tried half of that, you probably wouldn't see me here today. Like, some stuff that certain people get away with doing or saying is not applicable for everyone. And the same thing that works for you will get another person in trouble. So we're going to talk about some of those sayings and some of the things that people will say in order to, I guess they mean well, but at the same time they are short-sighted in who they're giving this advice to. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that, Denise?
No, I didn't know we were getting into cliches. I have a lot of, I think, ideas around like cliches and things like that. I think people are uncomfortable saying that they don't know what to say. And so they just get
Right.
into cliches, especially around like grieving and death and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People get into
Yeah.
that. The Lord works in mysterious ways. Keep that one. Uh, Everything happens for a reason. Not
Everything
entirely.
happens for a reason.
Not when somebody dies. Not when somebody
And
dies.
unless you know the reason, don't be telling me that. I'm still trying to figure out why. It does happen for a reason. So why did this happen? I don't know. Well, all right, well then don't say that then.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, okay. So what was the first one that you said?
God works in mysterious ways in reference to like death. People don't know what to say around death, so they say God works in mysterious ways, and you're like, this is definitely a mystery for me.
So is there any truth to that saying?
Yeah, because we don't know.
Right.
All things God are pretty mysterious because we don't know.
Right.
Like, we really don't know. So yeah, but is that helpful in the moment? Is that pretty bad advice for the moment?
Yeah, because it's not really constructive advice. Like,
No.
what that statement does nothing to help my current situation, my current state or emotional being. That it does absolutely nothing.
Yeah. The sky is blue.
Right, exactly. Um okay, let's go here. Everything happens for a reason. Does everything happen for a reason? And that's one thing that I'm in constant conflict with. Like, does everything really happen for a reason? I'm still not sure. If I believe
Well,
that. But tell me, does everything happen for a reason?
this is where we start getting into philosophical, right? We may as
Okay.
well just take it to tomorrow, or yesterday. So I think sometimes in life we assign reasons to things so that we
Mm.
can cope because we don't know how to just be. Now, I will say there have been times, like going back to the grief conversation, where when I was going through all this stuff where everybody was dying so back to back, it was just so overwhelming. It's a feeling that you cannot explain unless you've experienced it, and all the things that come with that. But because I experienced that, when someone was coming to me when their mom was dying, I was
Mm-hmm.
able to have a valuable conversation with them that I would have otherwise said something like everything happens for a reason had I not had an experience of grief. And in that moment was probably one of the only in moments similar to that are the moments where I'm not sure why I experienced all that grief back to back and all those losses back to back. But when I can help someone because of it, it's like, okay, that's the reason that I hold on to, where I can't explain why I had to be the one to experience that much level of pain. But when I can express whatever it is to someone else and it helps them, I'm like, okay. Like in that moment, in those moments, it was worth going through, because there's nothing like having someone tell you what you need to hear when you need to hear it when you're going through hell.
Right. I was recently talking to a coworker of mine. Do you hear this buzz? I got a buzz in my ear. I don't know, my stuff.
I heard it for a second. I wonder if it's my fan.
No, I think I really think it's just me. It's something.
Okay. It went away. It's not buzzing anymore.
But yeah, I was telling a coworker of mine, because they're in the process of going through a divorce, and divvying up everything, losing their house and the cars and all that stuff like that. And I've gone through that before, and they were asking me because I mentioned that before. And yeah, my advice wasn't, well, you know what? It was, it'll get better, but it's not how I present it. That's not how I present it. I said, eventually, right, if you hold on long enough and you keep living, things will turn around. But I said, you're probably gonna hit the rock bottom. You're gonna hit the bottom of the barrel, and it's gonna get as bad as it can get. I said, you just gotta. I said it's gonna be the worst thing ever. I said, but I said, yeah, it's gonna get bad. I said, what you need to do right now, you need to retrain your mind on how you're viewing this thing. I know how you've been with someone for so long, and why do they say this, and they mean this, and they really want to do this, and I was just telling them, like, hey, I know y'all been together for the majority of your life. You ain't together no more. It's every man for themselves. So everything that you think that the things that you have questions about, you need to stop having questions about that. Because those questions are not going to help you move forward as an individual.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. People, they're still trying to understand and figure out why another person don't want to be with them no more, why it didn't work out. Hey, if it's over, you need to get that part out. That this thinking that you have is not going to help you moving forward. It's going to keep you stuck. And I've seen people who stay stuck in this situation, even after the situation and the other person has moved on and they done remarried, and I still know people. They still stuck in that same pain from 20 years ago, and they never grew out of it. I said, you need to retrain your mind right now. Everything that y'all had together, that was then. You need to start fresh, because otherwise it's going to be a long road anyway. It'll be an even longer road if you don't know how. So anyway, I don't tell that everybody is going to be all right. I'm like, it can still be all right later on after you going to go through a marathon of hell. And I'm like, I'll tell you, like, where you are right now, I said it's going to get worse. I'll tell them that, like, it's probably going to get worse than where it is right now.
Damn. But that's good advice, because it's honest advice. It isn't,
right,
I'm just trying to make you feel good right now. It is,
right. That's the right.
For what is to come. Because a lot of times I think being unprepared and having no idea what's about to happen is so much worse than someone being like, look, it's about, it's gonna get bad. Right. And that's okay. And you'll get on the other end of it, but be prepared for it getting worse. Like that is some advice I would appreciate a lot,
Nikki, everything happens for a reason. Is that true?
I believe that.
Number one, is it true? And number two, is that good advice? Is that a good saying to give to someone while they're going?
I don't think that you can just say that to somebody without elaborating, right? Because unless the person is really able to receive that message, it can be taken really, really, really wrong. I do believe everything happens for a reason. I've said that for decades. Everything does happen for a reason. Good shit happens for a reason. Bad shit happens for a reason. Traumatic shit happens for a reason. Like, does it mean that the reason is always justified? No, not necessarily. Absolutely not. But there's a reason it's happening, right? And at the same token, everything happens for a reason can also, another phrase that a lot of people have a hard time with is this too shall pass, right? It will. Nothing lasts forever. It doesn't always feel right. It doesn't make sense. It might not feel fair, but it will. So yes, everything does happen for a reason. I think that the lesson is in the why did this happen? Is it good advice to give to everybody? I think that if the person is able to receive that information and process why you say what you say, they may be able to. But I think there's a right time for communicating that to different individuals. Everybody can't take that information at the same way. It can be taken offensively, or it can be taken insensitively if you're not like mentally, emotionally, spiritually prepared to deal with the fucking truth of why did this happen, or why did this happen again? Why am I finding myself in this situation again, right? But yeah, I do believe that everything happens for a reason.
So this is my other side to this, Nikki. And I think that's what I was saying to Denise. If we don't know the reason, is that good advice to give someone? Like, everything happened for a reason. All right, well, what's the reason? Why did it happen? I don't know. It just happened for a reason.
That's part of the journey. That's part of the journey of discovery. That's part of the journey of healing. That's part of the journey of understanding life. Why did this happen? Why did this happen? I think that people can easily be generic with, oh, everything happens for a reason. I think that could be some generic fuck shit. But I think if you really, really, really trying to get down to the roots of everything happens for a reason, the right sender and the right receiver, that will connect at some point. It may not be right now, but it's gonna hit at some point.
So that's a consoling piece of advice that someone could give to you, and you'd be like, okay, that's helping reel me back in or calm me down, or that helps for you.
If it's accompanied, I think if it's accompanied with like what you said, Q, right? You were like, it's gonna get worse, before it gets better, but it will get better. And things happen for a reason. You'll find out later, even if you don't know now. Like, you know, it really depends on how it's delivered. But if it's just, everything happens for a reason, it's like, come on.
There's a time and place.
I'm conflicted. If I don't know the reason, I don't know that statement will help me. Like, if you can't tell me the reason of why this is happening, or a potential reason why it's happening, then like, so some statements could be technically correct, but not helpful at the same time either.
I think everything has a time and a place. Yeah. You asked, would that be helpful to me? And I'm trying to think of in situations where you also have to be somebody who, like I said, it goes back to the sender and the receiver. If you're able to send the message properly and you're able to receive the message properly, and you're in a space where you can receive the message properly, where it's not like a blow you off kind of thing. The truth is, everything happens for a reason. I can easily look at Jules and be like, bitch, it happens for a reason. And both her and I can have a conversation and we know exactly what we're talking about. That is me saying, I love you. That's me saying, fuck shit happens. That's me acknowledging and identifying that we done stuck our hand in the fire too close once again, and we're trying to figure out how does this not burn, right? So there's a way that you can send that statement and mean it with love. There's also a way that I think you can be super generic and passive and use it with just like I don't really give a shit. Everything happens for a reason. So sender and receiver, I think, is a big part of that.
Okay, so Nikki, this is what I was thinking while you were saying that. It makes me think how I receive it depends on how the person lives their life.
Good.
So the person who says, you know, everything happens for a reason, if they are the same person that when I see them go through tough situations, they walk by that motto, then I'll take some comfort in it. But if they
Oh.
themselves don't use that advice that they're trying to give you at the time, and they're distraught and why did this happen, and you know, God hates me and people hate me, and like, you know, like, I don't, it's, so for instance, if my mom was to say that, you know, everything happened for a reason, God got a purpose for everything, that's what she lives by. And I've seen her operate in that same mindset even when she's going through challenges. So for her to say that to me, I was like, okay, okay. Now for someone else who maybe don't believe, or they just believe in chance and cause and effect, and then they turn around and say, you know, everything happened for a reason. I'm like, you don't even believe that. Like, and there's nothing about your life that shows an example of that. It would be harder for me to take that type of advice. I don't know.
But that's also a really important point, though, Q, is that we have to be mindful of whom we're getting advice from, who we're seeking advice from. Everybody is not a valid advice giver. So if you're going to somebody who you know is already a fence straddler, and they really not strong in their own convictions, whatever they may be, I'm not coming to you for some fucking advice. I'm already coming with a truck full of ammunition. Like, it takes a lot to reel me back in when I'm in an emotional state, right? So I look at other people in the same way. And I think that because I've dealt with so many different people and their traumas on different levels at different places and spaces, that there is a way you can still deliver that message to a person without it feeling like it is dismissive. Or because just because a person continues drinking doesn't mean that they can't tell you how to get sober. Just because a person may be out being very promiscuous doesn't mean that they can't tell you how to, you know, be celibate. So just because a person might not live in, you know, practicing what they preach doesn't mean that they still can't give you the message. It's all about how you receive that message and how you interpret what that person is saying. And now, if the barrier is the fact that you full of shit and I really can't take advice from you at all, then I can't even get it from you to begin with. Like, you're not on my list of people I'm going to talk to from Jump Street. But we have to look at the lens from in which we receive information. And if our lens is all fucking cracked and broken and foggy, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that any message can be taken hurtfully, no matter how it's delivered. So you have to be careful who you get advice from.
Okay.
Yes. So that's something I wanted to talk about, y'all, is like, before you either ask or absorb said advice, it's like, knowing, does this person have a bias? Could this advice be potentially coming from some sort of bias? Because we have our experiences, and our experience dictates like how we view the world, and then how we interpret it, and how we decide to give people advice. So if someone who has never been in a committed relationship,
oh man,
for a long term situation,
trying to give you marriage advice,
you can't really give you relationship advice because you ain't nothing. Yeah, you know, certain things you can't advise on. And
so Nikki, you
but
know,
they can, because their perspective of how they have viewed that has been from a non-participating party. Is it the type of advice I'd probably be most invested in? Probably not, but go ahead, Q.
Nikki, it remind me, we used to do, shout out to Dr. Bright, used to do Outside the Box with Roy Bright. That was a good show. On there, he have a guy who I really enjoy listening to, Bishop Foreman.
I remember him.
And he would, extremely intelligent, has so much to say. But when he got on there and started talking about kids and race, I'm like, you don't know nothing about no kids. Ain't got no kids. How you like? You saying stuff that sounds good based off of what you've read and what you've observed from the outside, but I'm like, having an inside view of that is two totally different things, and it would be like,
that's true.
A little different. Okay, so hold on, really quick. Let me go here. Shout out to Jason Small. Jason said, "Wisdom will give you a way to say it." That is true. A lot of wisdom also has to come from experience as well, so that ties into it. Jules, who's on here also. Hey, Jules,
What the
we're
hell?
having a human experience to learn. That's why it happens. Now, that's good advice. I actually like that. Now, that's something that I believe in. And Lloyd Jelk says that's why jury duty isn't always helpful, not knowing the reason behind things. So, okay, shout out to them. Let's see. Shout out to Yakma Malik. I know him as Kubi. Shout out to My Bell. What's up, My Bell? Carlton Rowe. What's up, Carlton Rowe? Cool. What's going on, Cool? Matt
Even with
Moore.
that.
Yeah, Matt Morgan. Yeah, Matt, you need to jump on. We ain't seen you in a
I
while.
know, Matt.
Where you at? Come on now.
Sean Davis, my bro. What's up, Sean? Jetta Cole, Destiny Smith. Oh, so thank everybody for watching. So what I say is, anybody who wants to jump on and get into this conversation, we still got plenty of time left. Now we will be stopping at the time because I got stuff to do. But we still got plenty of time left. So if you want to jump on, just catch the link on the Facebook thread and follow StreamYard. Jump straight in. It's pretty simple. Okay, so right before we get to you, Jules, I want to go back to you, Nikki, because you kind of thought, I wanted to know what your mindset or what your thought process was when you thought of this topic, and then I want to go from there.
I was trying to put a banner up here, and it's not working the way I wanted to work. Let me see. Hold on. Where it came from was, I mean, it's honestly, it's a collective of scenarios that I find myself in with people where they give advice that sometimes I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Like literally that's just my first response, shut the fuck up. And that doesn't mean stop giving advice. That doesn't mean stop saying how you feel. That doesn't mean like stop trying. But there's so much unrealistic advising that I run into on social media and with people. And I think that, I think it was Lloyd had said something in the comments about jury duty not being always, the best, right? Because a person doesn't know where another person is coming from, and, different perspectives. And so, completely honestly and transparently, just going through this deal that I've been going through with the house thing and not having a place to stay and just the fucking struggle that I've been going through the last couple of weeks with this whole move and whatnot. I'm always very transparent. And sometimes, I wonder if I overshare. But when you get somebody who will random ass message you and say, something that you said has resonated with me, or you just putting certain things out there and being raw and honest and just transparent with like real fucking life, like makes me feel like I'm not alone, right? So I don't ever feel like I'm really oversharing. I just feel like I'm fucking sharing and I'm normalizing normal things that regular people go through. And so often on social media, we highlight nothing but the good shit. And that adds to people's depression, that adds to people's black holes, that adds to people's insecurities, that adds to people's inferiority, because it's like, fuck, I'm never going to be as good as such and such. But such and such ain't got nowhere to go when they done posting. Such and such is sleeping in their car. Such and such is get beat up by their significant other. Such and such, So I'm transparent and I'm raw and I'm honest in the shit that I go through, not for fucking attention, not for sympathy, but to let people know that real shit happens to real fucking people every day, man. And there's a way to go about things, right? And so in that, I'm sharing obviously a lot of the fucking struggles that I'm going through with this move and not being able to get approved for a place and the cost associated and the fucking fear as a single parent, and somebody had offered me a house to rent for, it was like $22.95 a month. 1,300 square feet. It was a fucking slap in the face, right? And the guy wanted 2 months up front and he wanted 2 months deposit. And it basically came to like $10,000. And I was like, this can't fucking be life, right? So of course I post about it and I'm venting and I'm like, this is unfucking real, like $10,000 up front. Like obviously if I had $10,000, which I don't, if I had $10,000, a bitch wouldn't be looking for a 1,300 square foot place to rent. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd have been handled this shit, right? And since I'm clear and transparent and I put all my shit out there, like you don't have to read my shit every day to fucking follow my life. Like this shit's out there. So I'm just venting about this and I'm venting about that, and I'm just fucking stressed out, and somebody suggested I try to buy a house. I was like, are you fucking serious to me? You should try to buy a house. I can't even get a fucking rental property in my name because my credit score is so low. And mind you, I've talked about that. I've talked about my credit score being through the fucking ground. And the reason my credit score is through the ground is because I don't have credit. At 45 years old, I have perfect criminal history. I have perfect rental history. I have perfect fucking financial history. I don't owe a person a dime, and I never have. I live within my means. If I ain't got the money for it, I don't fucking buy it. I don't finance shit. I don't take out loans. Like, so I'm punished in the credit aspect of things for not having revolving credit. How in the absolute fuck am I going to get a
Can I
bank to give me a
time out?
loan?
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
I don't know who is this person who gave this advice. Do they have they purchased the house?
Yes.
That makes it worse to me that they would say that.
Especially since they have a lot of fucking money and they're married and they bought their house like 10, 12 years ago, like way before.
In addition to all of those
shit
things,
has taken place.
Do you know the process that it takes to buy a house? If you're in need of a house now and you're looking for somewhere now, saying you just buy a house, that's that's a 2 to 4 month process. Like what? How does that advice do anything to speak to the current situation that you're dealing with?
You should try to buy a house. And I was like, don't you think if I could buy a fucking house, I would have been bought a house? And he was like, well, you were just basically saying you were ready to drop $10,000. Just going by what you posted before. And I was like, no, the fuck, you didn't read it clearly because I'm not dropping $10,000. I don't have $10,000. And a couple other women had chimed in. They're like, bro, I don't know when the last time you bought a house was. But the interest rates are so fucking high. The insurance rates are so fucking high. Like, even if I could buy a house, $10,000 is going to get me laughed at. First of all, ain't nobody going to give me no house with $10,000 down. You got to come with $75,000 on a $300,000 starter fucking home. Like, get out of here, right? And so then to be told I should just try, I wanted to say you should eat a whole bag of fucking dicks, because if I could do such, I would have been such, right? So
that's not good advice.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. My advice to you about the dicks was great advice. No advice to me to buy a house was horrible advice. But to then see other people kind of chime in on this as though that's what I should do, it felt very, very fucking shaded to me. Like, oh, well, you should just buy a house. First of all, the people that suggested this have homes. They have a lot of fucking money. They probably have great credit scores. They're married with partners who have incomes. Like, they have a lot of things I do not have. There is no way. Right. And then somebody else was like, well, you don't know unless you try. I pretty much fucking know. I'm pretty confident that every bank on this rock is gonna be like, man, no.
So
that's
Nikki,
where this whole shit came from. I was so irritated that night. I was like, are you fucking serious, man? Why don't you suggest to me something that's really realistic? Or don't say shit at all. Or just fucking unfriend me if you don't like me and this is the type of shit that you want to say to me, because this is not it. This is not it. I'm not that stupid to think that I haven't tried everything possible. And these are people that know me, not like, oh, I know of her. They know me to know I fucking would have done everything possible than be in a hotel for a week because we didn't have nowhere else to go. Like, give me a break. And then it just snowballed into bad fucking advice from stupid people as the weeks went on.
Oh my! I want to touch that in a second, but Jules, go ahead, jump in, Jules.
am I jumping in on? Hold on.
Whatever your thoughts is, just about people who give, I guess, I don't know. Even okay, for what Nikki said, do you think in situations like that, are people trying to give good advice and they're just bad at trying to give good advice, or do you think they're low key trying to? If they think you buried, they trying to dance on your grave low key and throw. Like, what do you think when people say when you hear certain stuff like that? Do you think their intentions are right, or what? Like, I don't know. Give me some feedback on that.
I definitely think it depends on the person and how much they actually know me. And if you've peeped them long enough, then you know if they kind it's just out there talking shit just to have something to say.
Right.
And yeah, I definitely feel like there's people out there that will 100% make some kind of smart ass comment just because, just to have something to say to get you even more down, to do that, to push you even further, just to say, well, if you'd have done everything right, then you would be it wouldn't be this way, and it's all you know. But I do think there are people who try to give good advice who, they just don't step outside of themselves enough. They don't have enough empathy for other people. They haven't experienced enough other life's experiences. They haven't had enough friends from different walks of life. They haven't been through enough economic different statuses throughout their life. They haven't whatever. So it's real easy for somebody who's lived a charmed life to say, oh, well, you should just blah, blah, blah. I mean, we could take this to the extreme of when it comes to police brutality, being told, if you just obeyed, if you just did what they told you.
Just obey.
But that's people who have never been in the experience, who've never personally known somebody who's been in the experience, and it's so far out of the realm of possibilities to them. The cognitive dissonance is so real to them that they can't fathom. And so I think that sometimes people are saying it just because that's how it would be in their charmed life. But there's definitely ones that are just asses that are out here saying stuff because it's like one more thing to just crap on you.
I have a problem with those people. I really do. And over time, as they reveal themselves, I have a really hard time keeping them in my personal space because I don't need that type of divisionary energy. And you don't have to kiss my ass. You don't have to advise me anything properly. Just don't fucking say shit that isn't relevant or counterproductive.
Denise, not Denise, Nikki, this is and let me say, I would have took the liberty to be ultimately sarcastic and something like that. Oh, really? I never thought of that before. I'm gonna go fill out an application for a house right now. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Like, that never crossed my mind. Thank you. I really appreciate it. But anyway, my thought to you, Nikki, is, so for me, I think I could be complicated because I have to be in the right mood and mindset to suffer fools. And oftentimes I can if I'm in the right mindset and I'm prepared for it. If I'm not, then I don't do well with it. But so what I'm thinking is, how much responsibility do we take for our transparency to maybe people who don't deserve that transparency? So I say I'm very selective about who I'm transparent around. I'm more transparent around people who I value their advice and I look for their feedback. But I'm very pulled back when it comes to the transparency from people who I don't want your advice. And if I don't want your advice, I'm not even putting my information out there because you probably will say something stupid and then I'll be like, all right, well, hey, you have a good day. I'm gonna move around. I'm gonna talk to you. Like, I'm just not gonna entertain that. But
I'm at a point where I've got less than 300 Facebook friends. I've got however many followers on IG whenever I do happen to get on that. And I'm so much happier that way because of that less than 300, 97% are people that I know personally, that I've known for a long time. And that I'm always just going to be transparent because I speak my truth and I always have. And it's one of the reasons I think that Nikki and I resonated so deeply. Denise and I, like, we resonated so deeply when we met, was we're just that transparent, open, honest about what we are going through, what we're feeling, what we're thinking. Like and to me, anybody who's on my page who has something always negative to bring or whatever, they don't need to be on it. And that's how I went from having thousands down to about 800. And then in 2020, when my account got shut down, I was like, you know what? I went a year without it. And I finally reopened it. And slowly I've built up to like 280 people or something.
So you just
over
restarted
time.
a whole new account.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
a year
from
later.
that, then you are very selective on who come and who share in that space.
And it's a much better
Makes
space.
sense.
It's a much cleaner space. It's a much better
Right.
space. And my biggest thing for having it was to keep in touch with my people back home.
Right.
And so I've got, it's a 50-50 split. I almost recommended Nikki. I almost recommended you for a cleaning and metairie. I've been the pages, right? like my stuff pops up New Orleans, Austin, New Orleans, back and forth. And I'm like, but yeah, it was mainly for me, and so the people that are on there, I don't care if I'm willing to share anything with anybody, then I don't care if everybody knows about it. It's what I'm going through. And to Nikki's point, like, people, especially with social media, are so prone to just highlight the positive and the good. In general, I get very reclusive when things aren't great in my life. I tend to shut down and go in my little hermit crab because I'm a Cancer.
That's not necessarily great.
I'm a
either.
July 22nd Cancer. I just go and hide. That's what I do. I go back in my shell. But at the end of the day, when I do open up about stuff, I'll do it in front of a room of people. I don't care. Like, that's not relevant to me. And the other thing I was thinking too, when you were asking about people giving bad advice, I think that who is sending out the advice and what their life is, you made a great point about that. Because if you ain't walking the walk, like, don't sit here and tell me about how to do XYZ when your life is a complete shit show. Like, if you don't have a pot to piss in, don't tell me about how to save money. If you don't have have insurance on your car, then don't tell me about how I shouldn't have comp and collision on mine. Whatever that is, if you're not doing that thing, if you haven't achieved that, if you're not living in that, don't try and give me advice on it. If it's a past experience that you went through and you failed, and you can give me wisdom through your lesson, then I'll be open to listen to it. But if it's just because you want to seem to be superior and more intelligent, or even if it's you're trying to be helpful, but if you can't help yourself, how the hell are you going to help me? Just be quiet. Just stop.
Oh, so Jules, hold on. Let me say something real quick, Nikki.
Help somebody else with.
Let me say this, Nikki, because I gave you flowers directly. I give them to you open as well. I was, because just like Jules was saying, how you handle a situation in your situation validates the advice that you give to me. And that's what I was telling you the other week, Nikki. I'm like, I was really paying attention to you. I know all hell is breaking loose, and I know you stressed the hell out, but you just smiling like, hey, we're gonna figure this out. This is gonna, it's gonna work one way or another. And you just stayed upbeat and you stayed positive, and you was like, okay, what do we need to do next? And I'm like, you really handled that in a way that if I'm going through a situation, I would look to you for advice, because I saw the way that you handled your situation. So if you tell me something, then I'm not gonna be like, oh, she just, blowing smoke up somebody. No, I saw you actually work through that. So I know that it's credible and valid when you're telling me, and it's coming from a real place. I'm like, that's what I pay attention to. So yeah, kudos to you. Denise, let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever opened up and was kind of transparent about something, and then you start getting god awful advice, and you was like, I shouldn't have told nobody. I should have just shut up. I shouldn't have said nothing.
I think whenever I was getting bad advice, if I needed the advice, I was probably so desperate that I didn't recognize how bad the advice was until later. So that's one thing. And you're just so desperate. You're just like, please, somebody tell me something.
Like, this is terrible advice.
You know,
Why
and I
would
recognize. I'm like, hold on, what? That was crazy. But I feel like I have been in situations where a person's reaction to what I was going through made me go, you know, maybe I shouldn't have told you. I felt like sometimes people are triggered by your mess, that it'll send them back to a place, and then they're back there while you're right here, and they're bringing all that to the present, and you're like, wait a minute. First of all, calm down.
Right.
Calm down. I'm coming to you for advice. Why are you getting upset? I need you to be the calm one right now. So maybe I don't need to talk to you about this because you can't handle. Remember what you said last week, Q? I think it was either during High Q or it may have been during Free Thinkers. You can't handle me when I'm stressed out. And therefore, I've regretted talking to people when I realized they can't handle me at that, because they're so used to seeing me at, you know, that when I'm like, when I'm at my point, it's just too much for them. So that's the only time I think I've really regretted it in real time.
And then you also come across some people who they will get offended if you don't take the advice that they gave you. And it's just like, if I give you advice, I'm just, hey, maybe you haven't thought about this. This is just an option. If you go a different direction, I'm not gonna be mad at you. Well, hell, I told her I ain't got nothing. And then they'll pull away, and then they don't want to. Like, if you don't do it the way that I'm telling you should do it, then I'm just gonna step out of the circle with you, and you got to figure it out. It's like,
wait,
that's not the purpose for advice.
I gotta sit in my truth. I do have a rule.
You do that.
I do have a rule. If you come to me for advice and you drain me of my life force,
oh Lord,
and you exhaust me with your story,
oh my goodness,
that I have heard several times, and I say you probably need to do X, Y, and Z, and you don't do it, you cannot then come back to me with the same story, wanting to vent about it, because I'm done.
No, that ain't
right. You can't. You know why? Because you're draining me, and you have no desire to do better. You just want to do what you want to do, and then you want to vent to me about it, and I'm tired.
Should that drain you though? Should that drain you, Denise?
Yes.
Well, that's about you though. But you will let that person drain you, because ain't nobody gonna drain me of my energy. I'll give you a little bit of what you need, but you're not gonna take from me what I can't give you, or what I'm not going to give you.
Precisely, which is why you can't come back.
Nah.
No.
This is how you do it, and your life went to shit, and you can't come back and talk to me about it.
No, listen. Denise, let me tell you something. I can't tell you how many times.
No, ma'am.
How many friends they'll call me, hey man, what's up, man? I'm done with her, man. We this and this and that. This ain't gonna work. I did everything I do. I said this, and then and then especially when situations get volatile, I'm like, yeah, and y'all need to be finished, because y'all are kind of toxic for each other, and this can be dangerous down the line. You don't want to end up like, I'll start giving you reasons on why you need to go ahead and be done with that, and this and this and that, get your stuff, blah blah blah, and I give a whole rundown on what you should do and why y'all should really be done for real. Now, and this has happened many times, that same person, oh yeah, we got back together, this and this and this and that. You know what I say? Okay, that's what's up. Congratulations. That's it. It's not my job to live your life for you. I gave you an assessment on what I think.
I'm going through it again with the same person again.
And you know what?
I'm going to vent to you about it again.
And you know what? After that, like, I don't have to. I'm like, okay, so what? Then I just put it back. Okay, so what do you think? What do you think you should do in that situation? How do you feel about that? What is like, for me, I'm not giving you more advice on what you should do. I told you what I think you should do. At this point, I am I'm going back to my Matrix Bible. When who was it? Was it the Oracle? because they was asking about. She said you already made the choice. You're here to understand why you made that choice.
Ooh, ooh, me too.
So I'm obviously in your mind, you've already made a choice on what you want to do. Okay, so now I'm just here. I'm just helping you navigate so you'll understand why you're making this choice.
And that's the reality. Sometimes we just need a sounding board, and
yeah,
you know, there are certain people that I am going to go to and ask for or open up to about what's going on, because I know, given the person they are, the life experiences they've had, that they are going to be able to let me talk my way through and out of whatever situation I'm in. And there are other people that as soon as I try and talk to them about what's happening in my life, they just want to have a worse story, or they had a worse day, or their life was more stressful, or oh, I know this and that and the other is happening. Yeah, but you know what happened to me? Or even worse than that, I've had people who have just straight up ignored what I'm telling them and start talking about like an ex about something that happened to her that was not as bad as what I was opening up about my past and something that happened. And all of a sudden I'm like, really? Am I not even here? Are you kidding me? But there are just people who no matter what you say to them are going to have. And then there are people that you can go to who are going to be there. They're going to be present, and they're not going to try and one up the conversation or disregard you. They're going to be a sounding board. If nothing else, they'll sit in silence with you and just let you talk it out. They may not give you advice. It may be a whole bunch of that. Well, what do you think? And what do you think you should be doing at this point? We've had this conversation before. You know what the hell you keep doing over and over again and allowing and going through. But, are you ready to fix yourself, or are you ready to keep going through it? And, there's other people that you're going to try and talk to, and it's just going to be about something else totally.
So Jules, and that's one of my things as a friend, my job is not to grow you up or help fix you. Like, I feel like everybody has their own journey. We're together, but we're alone.
Yep.
We all together, but we all have separate journeys, and we will all go through those journeys at our own pace and our own timing. So it's not for me to decide how fast you should come along or what your destination is. That's for you to decide. My job is just to help see where you are. And then I look and say, okay, well, what's the next step?
If I could tell you the number of times my mama done told me, I think I might have told you something along those lines before, Julia, when I come back to her and I said, oh my God, so-and-so said such and such. And it made sense. It was just, and my mama looked at me like I was dumb stupid. Just, have you lost your mind, child? Because I know I've told you this at least 11 times in the last 3 years, and you didn't hear it not once. But at the time, I did not have ears to hear nor eyes to see. And so all of the advice in the world didn't make no damn sense to me, even though it was exactly what I needed. I wasn't in a space to receive it. And all of a sudden, when it came from this other thing and whatever had changed inside of me, that I was now open to it. And it was almost the exact same words sometimes. And the message came through loud and clear. And so to give up on people, I'm not real big on that unless they keep showing that they are intentionally being detrimental to themselves. I'm not real big on giving up on people. And it's gotten me, it's run me through the ringer many a time because I'm not real big on giving up on people. When I do, I'm done. But until then, I'm not, if they still trying, if I see that they're trying to grow, if I see they are making advances and they are growing, then yeah, I'm going to continue to be there. And it can be draining, Denise. It really can. But at the same time, I've been trying for many years now to learn how to hold my energy in and keep their energy out and allow it to pass through me and not reside in me and not take from me.
So for, I say this also, Denise, and I'm throwing it right to you, Denise. Just going off what Jules saying, growth goes both ways. Like if I'm looking from the aspect of a tree can grow up or a tree can be growing down. Sometimes even though the tree is not growing, the roots are growing, but you don't see it. So again, is it for me to say if a person's really growing or not? I don't know when. Like, you don't know all of the history and the damage that they got to get deeper roots before they can actually sprout up. I don't know that. So as long, like Jules said, as long as you ain't hurting me, now don't intentionally do something to hurt me. Then, because now if you gonna be my enemy, then that's something different. But as far as I'm just not one of those people. I don't look at a person and say they're not growing. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm in a position to say that. But anyway, Denise, what are you thinking?
I think there's levels, right? It's not about, I wouldn't say if they're not growing or if they're growing, but if you're doing the same behavior over and over again, like as a person that cares about someone, if someone is behaving,
is that growth though?
The same behavior over and over again?
Yes.
I don't know if it's growth or not. I just know I don't want to see it. If I'm like, if I have a friend who is continuously hurting themselves, I'm not going to sit there and watch you do it over and over again. It's hurtful to watch someone continuously hurt themselves and then come to you and look, I cut myself again today. So it's like, at some point, it's like, I'll still be your friend, but within reason and within my boundaries. So
right.
If it gets to a point where you're calling me, and every time you're calling me, you're pretty much just throwing all your crap on me, and with no change, it's like, okay, now I'll let you vent, I'll let you do all these things, but like you're doing all this and then there's no difference in your life. You're just coming to me with the same stories about the same person. Okay, I'm going to step back because I realize maybe I got a savior complex. I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to let you sort through your thing because there's nothing I can tell you. I still love you, but I have no desire to talk about this. I literally had this conversation with my mom. When my mom was still with my stepdad, God rest his soul, when she was still with him, she would call me and complain. I said, Mom, I will be there for you if you need me to be there for you when you decide you want to leave. But as long as you are in this relationship, you cannot call me and complain about this relationship. That's just what you can't do. So she didn't. And our relationship was great. And whenever she decided to move on, I was right there. But there's boundaries you have to set up. Just because you're my friend,
you have to set
boundaries.
That's correct. I'm funny. I was laughing because I be thinking about some of the stuff I be saying. Because I'll somebody come back to, and I'll be like, such and such, such and that. Oh, you talking about from 2 weeks ago? No, they did it again. They did it again? Okay. That sounds like a pattern. How do you feel about that? Like and then you said that they did that like 3 months before then too. Okay. So what do you think about it?
Oh.
And then I just be like, so what do you think about that? You see that but it's not so, as the salesman in me, and then Nikki, you jump in. One of my focus as a salesman is not to convince you to buy or purchase or partake in any service that I'm offering. Not based off of why I said it. My responsibility is to give you the right information to make sure it's properly communicated so you can clearly see everything for yourself, whether it's the benefit, the service, the value, whatever. All I want to do is communicate information so you can clearly see and you make the proper choice for yourself. I'm not convincing you to do anything. And that's the same way that I even approach even religion to this point. Like I don't want to tell somebody about a story in the Bible and tell them this is what this means. I just want to have a conversation, give you the right information, because I can tell you something, but all you're doing is regurgitating the information that somebody else told you. And you see that all the time. Well, my pastor said this and this and this. My pastor in this church. Okay, yeah, that's what your pastor said, and that's your pastor's interpretation. Have you settled it inside of yourself? What does it mean to you? Because once it means something to you, then now you're secure in that. That's not going to be, you can't, that's much harder to challenge once you've internally accepted something based off your own knowledge that you got versus what somebody else told you it's supposed to mean. So I just think it's two different things. So the way I approach my friends is totally different. I'm like, I'm just like one of y'all said, I just want to be a sounding board, help you understand for yourself what it is that you see. But anyway, Nikki, what are you saying? Or what were you about to say?
A couple different thoughts are sticking in my mind, and I think what I appreciate out of hearing all four of us talk about how we handle other people's shit and and our boundaries and whatever, is that I think that the number one thing that we can do for ourselves and for somebody else is know what our own bandwidth is, right? Like what we are emotionally, spiritually able to do and to take on, because that's really important. I think that if you don't have the emotional bandwidth to really just keep being somebody's constant sounding board, it may definitely work on your spirit in a way where it does start to affect you, right? And so then another thing that I think about, I just keep saying in my head over and over and over, and y'all know I grew up in a 12-step space with my family, is just keep coming back. Keep coming back, keep coming back. At the end of every meeting, everybody holds hands, you say the serenity prayer, and you end it with keep coming back. It works if you work it. It doesn't matter if you got 1 day clean, doesn't matter if you got 6 days clean, doesn't matter if you got 6 fucking minutes clean. Just keep coming back to this room, sit in this room, and no matter how many times you hear the same motherfucking story, hour after hour after hour after hour, one day, you're going to be ready to receive. And you heard the same story for years.
Right.
But today, for some reason, today was the day that I got the message. And so
the day, yep.
I guess for me, my bandwidth is infinite, right? I can listen to my girls complain or bitch or cry or be frustrated about certain situations, relationships, men, just different dynamics, and I will never turn them down. They've never turned me down. And I know that I'm a lot to deal with, so I never dump on somebody until I'm really ready. But in that dumping and in that dialogue with people over and over and over, no matter how many times you may repeat something with the same person over and over and over, that's where the it happens for a reason comes from. That's where the discovery of why the fuck I'm in this situation again, that's where that comes from. Because until you're ready to do something different, you're gonna keep doing what you've done because it's what fucking works. Even if it doesn't work, it's what works. There's so many things that change our brain chemistry, that it isn't just quit drinking. It isn't just quit cutting. It isn't just quit having promiscuous sex. It isn't just quit hitting your significant other. It isn't just quit cheating. It isn't just quit going back to him. It isn't just quit going back to her. Like if that's like me buying a motherfucking house. Duh. If I could buy a fucking house, I would have bought a house, right? But when you get into the chemical imbalance of people in that space, when it comes to trauma or lack of resources, lack of coping skills, I'm honored that I'm people's landing space. I'm honored that I'm people's whipping board. I'm honored that I get to be people's 2 o'clock in the morning. I know I don't know you very well, but I feel like I can talk to you. Can I talk to you right now? Absolutely. Like, and that's not for everybody, but in that is where the uncovering of why it happens, or where I'm the common denominator in some of these things is. And honestly, a lot of people who are in bad situations didn't have a safe place emotionally to go to before. And so if you've been turned down by somebody, or somebody shut the door on you because they didn't quite do what you wanted them to do, I never speak from a place of this is what you should do. I tell you what the fuck it looks like and what it sounds like and what it's probably going to be, but that's your life. That's up for you to decide. I'm just happy you keep coming back to me knowing you trust me and you value what I have to say, and I love you enough to give you my energy to, 1, let you know that it's fucking validated, and 2, you have an option. And it's totally up to you. But until people are ready to do something different, nobody's ever going to take your fucking advice the way you want it to. Never. It sounds good, but that's just not how it goes. Bad advice, though, is just absolutely counterproductive. And that's why I think we do have to be conscious about who we take advice from, who we go to for advice. Because in a weakened state, it's real easy to get bad advice. I think one of the worst fucking phrases I've ever heard, and I heard this like 25 years ago. And as I was thinking about this today when I was showering, getting ready for the show, thinking about this statement, I thought to myself, damn, maybe I should have heeded this red flag, right? A long time ago, right? But I remember like 25 years ago, I heard a girl say that her grandmother told her, and I'm sure we've all heard it, the only way to get over somebody is to get under somebody. And I was like, honestly,
worst advice ever. That's the first thing that went through my mind when I saw it.
No, it might not be that bad, though.
No,
it might not be that bad.
Ever. Worst advice ever. And as I think about who the advice came from and the dynamics in which this family system followed this mentality of you got to get under one to get over the next, I was like, this is horrible advice, but this is
get under one.
This is literally how people carry themselves. And this is why we got wounds and weeping infections every goddamn where, because you just slide upon the next best thing because your heart's broken. You're sad. You're hurt. You feel some type of way. Bad advice is horrible advice. And I continue to hear this person say it over and over and over. And even 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when I heard it, I thought to myself, this is
horrible. Hold on. I got a question. Hold on. First of all, I got a question. First of all, shout out to Tequila Hess Wheeler. How you doing? Edward, what's going on, Edward? We need to see you out here soon as well. Let me ask the question. To get over someone, have you ever got under someone and it actually made you feel better, helped the situation?
Temporarily.
No.
Okay.
No.
Said no. Said temporarily.
No.
You know what? I can't.
Temporarily.
Hold on. Okay, so I'm with you on the temporarily, Denise. What I say is now, when I was going through my divorce, I had several numbing agents that help ease the pain. And did it fix the problem? No. Was the problem still there? No. But it is. Yeah.
Okay, but did it actually help in the moment, or did it actually
compound
it and make it worse?
No, it definitely helped.
Dig the hole deeper for you to get out of.
It was a distraction.
No, it helped.
Yeah. It was an alcohol. It was a drug. It was a distraction on top of the real pain and the real feeling or the real emotions. I
think that helped, though. I think it helped. So for, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody, but for men sometime, you don't want to be like, so the emotional pain is going to be there. That ain't going nowhere. And compounded on top of that, then you have this physical yearning as well. So, and those are two different things.
Don't act like women don't have that. That's just,
I'm not.
That's just
I ain't saying you don't. I just don't. I don't want to. I don't know this circle of people I'm talking to, so I don't want to be presumptuous. I'll let somebody else say that.
I'll say this. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Q.
No. Go ahead. I'm just saying. Looking back on it, it was that was more beneficial to me. I still had to deal with the emotional part of it. But for me, the sex did not make the emotional part. It didn't give me a larger void of emptiness or make anything worse. No, it actually, it gave a level of comfort for me for a period of time. And yeah, no, it was actually beneficial.
Because you offloaded all of that onto somebody else.
There we go.
You released all of that into whoever she was that you were doing that with.
That's exactly what I was going to
Hey. We don't know that. We don't know that.
Oh, yeah.
We do know that.
We do.
We could have soothed each other and help. And actually, I was.
So you were receiving at some point on that end? You were receiving all of that? No, I didn't think so.
What do you mean? Oh, but no, I was
Yeah.
actually, I can't say I would know, but listen, I wasn't told by everybody, but I was told by a specific person, like, yeah, you were a good and needed distraction at that time, because they were dealing with a different set of issues. Like, their issues weren't really relational, but they had a whole bunch of family, they had different other family issues and stuff like that. And it was like, yeah, it was a good release for them at that time. That actually was a benefit. Now I can't say that for, like I said, I had several forms of
Numbing agents.
no, I had
Numbing
several.
agent.
I had several numbing agents. I can't speak for all of the medicine, but I just say that some was. Anyway, y'all got what I'm saying. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I am a firm believer in, if you are healing, you should not be dating and you should not be having sex. You should not. Whether
I
you
don't think you
take,
should be dating. No, you shouldn't be
you
dating.
should.
But
I don't think that you should be dating, or I don't think that you should be having sex, because generally we
you
don't
shouldn't
have
be dating.
discipline. We don't have discipline enough as humans. We are not disciplined to our flesh. We are not. And if we are trying to change patterns and we're trying to do something differently and we're trying to experience things we never experienced before, we're trying to solve problems, trying to fix shit, we're trying to figure out what the fuck did I do wrong in this motherfucker. Like, putting our body parts into somebody else, or letting other people put their body parts into us and transferring that energy, like, we are literally just avoiding the fucking healing process. Now, that doesn't mean that we
It's
may not still
nature.
heal. That doesn't mean that we don't heal. But I truly believe,
That can't be a part of the healing.
no, having sex with somebody else and having emotional baggage, or creating an emotional baggage or an
You
emotional
think?
connection with somebody, that's not how you heal. Healing is being disciplined and committed to your body, to your urges, to your discipline about what you need to do for self. Getting through those stages of celibacy, getting through those stages of wanting to feel touched
What?
and wanting, yes, absolutely. That shit teaches you a lot about yourself, who you are, what you're made of, what you can and can't do, how strong you are or are not. Absolutely. Is that for everybody? Most people, absolutely not. But you have lived through an experience of having sex accessible 24/7, to then choosing to not use your body as a distraction, to not use your private parts as a distraction, but to have to deal with what you are fucking feeling, or figure out what it is that you're feeling if you don't know what it is, and to have to do this sober and by myself and figuring all these bits and pieces out. That shit is fucking power like no other. And you can't come back from that. I'm telling you that everything changes after that point. If you just continue doing the same shit that you've been doing, you're going to keep getting the same fucking results. You got to do something different if you want something different. And it's just too easy for us to hop into the bed and be like, oh, no big deal.
Oh, I did something
It's
different.
friends with benefits. You know, it's no big deal. And that's cool. And I say that maybe as a woman's perspective, right? Because we are the ones that are generally penetrated, right? Maybe there is a different element for men than there is for women, but I wholeheartedly believe if you are healing, you should not be dating and you should not be having sex. That in itself will take you to a level that you have never fucking been before. And it's something that you protect. You really do. And you work hard to protect that, because then you now treat your body as the temple that it is. Everybody doesn't have access to it now. Everybody can't have access to it now. Like, it is something to be treasured and treated like it's important, because it's dick everywhere and it's vagina everywhere. Like, it's not hard to get either of those two things. And as you sit back and just kind of watch and watch and watch how other people get under somebody else to get over the next person, you realize I could have easily been one of them, just on the fucking list. And that's cool if that's what you're down with, but are you really? Are you
No,
really?
okay, so I'm being a little silly. I think, but I'm being silly, but I'm being slightly serious. I don't think if you are broken in any shape, form, or fashion, I don't think using sex to mend that brokenness will ever work.
No.
Now, if you have a clear understanding of what you're doing, then I don't think it's necessarily, I don't think the same rules apply. I just say it like that. I wouldn't I wouldn't recommend that a broken person use that to fix their broke. Like for me, there was nothing about me ever in that time period that said this is going to fix my issue. What my emotional issue is at the moment is totally separate from this. And even to the point, like, I would never deal with another person if they didn't have a clear understanding of what was going on. Not only stated, but implied. What I mean by that is, hey, whatever, this is where I am right now in my life. I'm not looking for anything more than what's happening right now. If you're looking for anything more than that, then I will not continue anything with you, because I don't believe in tricking people or playing with people's emotions. I would say that, number one. Number two, if
Before
they
the
say what?
You would say this before the act.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But then even on top of that, just because I said it, because some people will be like, well, I told her and she still got to start getting feelings. I don't care. If I told you and I still saw that you were getting feelings deeper than what you should, I still be like, nah.
Okay.
Because I
least
do not
kudos
feel,
to that.
I don't play with people. I don't play with people's emotions like that.
At least thank you for that, because a lot of people don't operate from that space. And I'm not saying that people can't have, no strings attached sex and that doesn't work. I'm not saying that that's not possible. All sex doesn't have to be an emotional connection, but most people don't come into it honestly. Most people are not honest. Most people are not healed. Most people are not well. Most people don't have wellness as their intention. Like most people don't go into it with that. And that's how it just prolongs the bed jumping that turns into a fucking, house full of suitcases when it's all said and done, and you just got baggage on top of baggage. So I applaud you for at least being honest and knowing that, you have to put gloves on with certain types of people. Most folks don't do that in that situation. So.
Right. Let me throw one out here before we get toward the end. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Good saying, bad advice. How do y'all feel about that saying?
Absence makes the heart
okay. Rhea says she agrees with that. I mean, okay, Rhea, is there a certain amount of absence? I mean, at a certain point, like, absence will get you forgotten, moved on from too.
Not too much, but
right.
Go somewhere, go out of town, do something. Let me you.
Right. That is true. Yes, I do agree with that.
And think about during the pandemic, anybody that was living with people during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you were 24/7 with the same person or people. Even a break to go run to the grocery store was enough absence to make it a little easier to come back home to them. So absence could be as simple as going away for the job for the day or the whatever. But
yeah.
It also depends on as long as it's not being used as I'm going to teach you, as long as it's not as long as it's not silent treatment, as long as it's not an intentional thing, as long as it is something that is not nefarious by design, then to a certain extent, I think it definitely does. And then at some point it starts to draw a wedge.
Okay. Nikki, Denise, does absence make the heart grow fonder?
Nikki, you can go first.
All right. I agree with you. I think it depends on the situation. I, however, am one of those people where, and I'm not prideful or happy, like, to say that I can cut a person off and be okay with that, right? But I am, my boundaries are very long and they're very short. I can go real motherfucking long and deep with you, or I can go real shallow and short with you, right? But I'm gonna go as far as you tell me I have to go. So if the leash is long, we're gonna walk that shit. If the leash is short, I'm gonna cut it off. So for me, absence makes the heart grow fonder if I love you to a certain degree. But at a certain point, absence does not make my heart grow fonder. Absence is, it was a seasonal relationship. Like, it's cool. Like, I don't miss you. I don't, Too often we get wrapped up in this whole, oh, I missed the person, I missed the person. Well, you miss the fucking memories. That's all you miss is the memories, because it could be another
Yeah,
person.
that is true.
Another person is going to walk down the beach with you. Another person is going to go to the carnival with you. Another person is going to go to the show with you. Like, another person can do that, right?
Ain't the same. That ain't the same.
It's
No,
not the same
no,
person.
no, no,
It's
no,
not the
no,
same
not
person.
always.
It's not the same
Another
person.
everybody can't do what a certain person can do.
And you're not supposed to. And you're not supposed to be competing with that person either. I'm supposed to be given a fair shot to give you what I got, as I'm supposed to give you a fair shot to give me what you got. I'm not comparing you to him, her, she, it, they, them, whatever the case may be. So absence makes the heart grow fonder is I fucking love you and want you in my life immediately. If you go too far too long, you just gone. That's all. Like, that's it. I mean, it's okay. There's a lot of relationships I've ended where it's no love lost. It's just a disconnect, and that's okay. But don't think you finna silent treatment me, or I'll show you me, because no, you will not. It's not gonna work for me.
Okay.
I've accepted seasonal relationships.
You said I heard it get personal at the end. Go ahead.
I think absence tests the limits of a relationship. You know,
I like that.
Yeah.
because
I like that.
like in a romantic relationship, then you're trust me, as someone who's in a long distance relationship, like it tests your communication and your ability to be able to be present with your feelings and understand that some of your frustrations may simply be that this person is absent and you miss them. But then there's other levels where it's like, I see y'all every week, but I might see y'all once a year if I'm lucky. But I don't need to see you every day, and I don't need to communicate with you every day. But my heart is that y'all are my friends and I love you. So the absence doesn't matter.
Right.
So it really just depends on the two people in relationship with each other and the communication that they have, which will determine what the absence does and it doesn't. Then also that, sometimes the absence doesn't allow for, you haven't seen your family, you see them once a year or something like that. You see them on Christmas. They don't have the ability to get on your nerves like that because there's absence. So it's just
Right.
As somebody that lives far, far away from their
That's all.
family.
Yeah.
So let me throw one more out there. We got a few minutes left. Rhea, let me jump to you and then go to you, Jules. This other one. If you love something, let it go. And if it come back, then whatever that means. Do you believe that if you love something, then you let it go? Do you has that saying or advice ever been given or applied to you, and do you believe that it works? Rhea.
If you love something, let it go. Yes, if you're not waiting for it to come back, I think that sometimes you have to let go. Being a divorcee,
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly say that I did that. I left out of love. I still care about that person, but it's better to be apart. And having lost everything, because at the time I also lost my kids and everything, I'm at peace. Like, it's okay if someone does not want to be around me or separates themselves from me. I'm completely okay with that. If they want to be around me, they will be, or find their way back to me. I think you have to be at peace with yourself to be able to say that so you don't need or I don't know, have an unhealthy attachment to someone.
Dang, you changed my whole angle on that. I was thinking about it in a different type of way, but yeah, that's good stuff.
Oh.
No. You said, you made me think of. I'm thinking about it in a certain aspect, but even how you said that, I'm like, yeah, that absolutely makes sense. Huh, Jules? What you think, Jules?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that it speaks to allowing people do what they want to do and giving them the freedom to be themselves. And it's true that, but the thing is, how long is it going to take them to come back? And are you still going to be in the same space? And,
Right.
just because I let you go and you decide to come back, how long did that take? And what did you do in the meantime? And did the things that you did damage
Oh,
what we
shoot.
had? All of those things play into that. So I do believe that, that people need to be independent enough to be able to be let go, and to not have, like you said, an unhealthy attachment to someone is a beautiful space, because you don't need, and you're not clinging like that you want them in your space is a beautiful place to be, as
Oh,
long as
okay.
they want to be in your space and share their space with you. But if I say, well, the door's open and you walk out of it, then don't be mad if it's locked when you come back.
Okay, see, Jules, you brought me back to my original line of thought.
Full circle.
Cause so that is, cause like, okay, if you love something, then number one, let it go. That'll allow the person to see what you mean to them, and that'll also allow you to see what you mean to that person. But like you said, by the time they come back, am I still gonna be there when you get back? And not only, and just so this is my thought. You leave, you come back, I ain't there. And I don't even mean physically, I mean mentally in the same space. I could be, my mind, whatever, heart could be somewhere else. Just because I'm not there when you get back, does that mean I really didn't love you? No. I think it's just human nature to where you're going to play with the cards that you're dealt. And if this card if I'm dealt a certain type of way and this person leaves out, okay, it ain't like I didn't love them, but life got to go on, and I still got to figure out how I'm going to press through this life. So from that aspect, that's the aspect I disagree with that statement on. But
To
yeah,
me,
go ahead.
the thing is, my love for somebody doesn't change by their presence or absence. The fact that I love someone doesn't change. The attention, the time, the energy, the whatever I'm willing to give them and share with them, and how close I'm willing to let them be in my life. I mean, all of those things, when you're a good person, the exes always circle back around. And in the last 2 months, I've had 3 of them circle back around out of the blue. One I haven't spoken to in over a decade. And how did you find me? And why are you reaching out to me? And no, I'm not accepting the request. And why? Because you don't deserve my energy. But, do I still have love for that person? Absolutely, because we shared some really incredible, fun, fantastic memories and times. And I had a lot of love for him at one point in my life. But no, you don't deserve my friendship. You don't deserve, after the way things went and all this time is
Right.
no, I'm not that person. So there's that part of it too. Like, what if, and also to me, if you're that willing to walk away, that eager to walk away, that shows me where I am in your priority list, and that I'm not a priority. So therefore I need to make myself a priority.
That makes sense. Shout out Carla Finley. What's going on? Denise, Nikki, what do y'all think about this?
I think if you love yourself, then let it go. Like, if it gets to that point where you're feeling that, you have to let it go. And as far as like them coming back around, like Jules said, when you're a good person, or if there's some sort of attachment or something, maybe there's something they get from you that makes them feel good, it isn't even always them coming back around because they love you, or coming back around because they truly care or want to change. They may just be coming back around because they might need their ego stroked. Like they might,
Need
they
a
might
place
be
to stay.
addicted to you in some kind of way.
Need some
Look for another
money.
place to stay.
Need a place to stay.
Income tax season coming up.
Baby,
You never know. And maybe they are coming back around because they do love you and they do care about you, but then Like, have they done the work? Like, beyond you missing me, has there been work that's been done? Because if not, then you should say, I'm going to stay gone. You know, like, let's stay gone. You know, so I think, like, you got to love yourself. And if it's not aligned with, if how they treat you is not aligned with the love that you feel for yourself, if you in fact love yourself, then you probably need to end it.
Well, if not, you're giving them the opportunity to just pull the rug out from underneath you again if they haven't done the work, if they're not showing, if they're not, you know.
Yep.
And depending on what have you? Okay, you decided you could walk away. Well, so cool. What have you been doing in that time? Oh, just the same old, same old. The partying, the getting under somebody else to get over the whatever it was that you were doing, or did you join that thing
I
and get
got
into
under a lot of
therapy
people.
and get a whole new hobby and find ways and go back to some kind of school, or are you growing in ways that were not happening before, that something about this event and this loss has triggered such a change within you that it's obvious that you are intentional with the choices you're making to be on a better path holistically. And even then still, like, if it was that easy to walk away, then if I wasn't a priority then why would I believe that I am now? That's the hard part of it to me.
So I
Okay.
don't always think it's an issue of priority or not, because we really don't know what another person's going through in that time or space for them to have to walk away, right? However, that doesn't mean that feeling like that makes us low priority isn't valid either. I grew up with let go, let God, right? That's a classic slogan in the 12-step world. I'm not a God-centered person, right? But like let go, let God to me meant you let that shit go. You let it go. And you have zero fucking control about bringing it back. It's not about bringing it back. It's not about this idea it might come back. It's not about, oh, well, he or she's going to go get better and they're going to come back to me. It's, I let that shit go. I let it go. I let it the fuck go. When you let shit go, you let shit go. There isn't this idea of if, should, would, maybe, later. No. They also say that, you know, cutting people off is painful and hanging on is painful, right? So there's going to be pain associated in both of those scenarios. One just hurts a little bit differently. Letting go hurts. Hanging on fucking hurts. But hanging on and continuing to be shot 24/7, fuck that shit. I'm going to go ahead and let this go. And if in this universe, somehow the cards have decided that we have done our fair share of work to where this relationship can come back and start over, because we're not coming back where we left off at. We have to fucking start from scratch. So all that, what did you do in the meantime, doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. It will show itself. It will present itself if it was done. If it wasn't done, then the relationship fizzles back out. And this doesn't have to be a romantic thing exclusively. This could be a platonic friendship as well. But you have to let go. And letting go, most people don't actually let go. They let go with conditions. They let go with like a little bit of attachment to some shit. That's not letting go. You're still codependent. You're still enabling. You're still feeding into that disease of whatever this relationship was and got you sick. If you let go, you let the fuck go. The two last relationships that I had to let go of, I did not let go of them with the intention of, well, maybe it'll get better and he'll come back. No, I had to let that shit go, which means it forced me to process how I felt, process those losses, process what was going to be of those losses, process my sadness, my loneliness, my lack of whatever it was that I got out of those relationships. And it made me have to deal with who I am and how I'm going to get better instead of focusing on what this person is or isn't gonna maybe or maybe not do. If this person comes back well, hey, who knows? If this person comes back and they're not well, it's gonna be super prevalent and very obvious. So that person doesn't get to come back. So the whole letting it go, if they're supposed to be yours, they'll come back. I feel like that's almost as dangerous as closure can be. The necessity for closure can be for some people. It ain't gotta be let go to come back. It's fucking let go to let go. It's let go for me. It's let go for you. It's let go because we don't work. It's whatever
Right.
happens after that happens.
Uh,
What about you? What do you
almost,
think?
I almost have to agree with that, even though I don't want to agree with that. I don't know if I like it. I'm like, listen, this is my life, and I do what I please. If I love something, I'm hanging on to it. Hell no. As a part of me believe that, like, no, nuh-uh. But I think it depends on the circumstance that we're talking about. If we're talking about something toxic, if we're talking about something, if we're trying to force something to work that's clearly being forced and it's not
Right.
happening organically, then in those situations you probably do want to let it go. But I think this is the tricky part, is that you have to understand what you're looking at. Are you looking at something that's toxic, that's not working, and that you need to let it go? Or are you looking at a relationship that needs some work and you need to do some freaking work? Like,
Right.
sometimes people be ready to let stuff go when you need to do some work. And then
True.
sometimes people like, we need to do some work when you probably just need to let it go. So you just need to know the difference. Like, and I see some people doing one thing when they probably should be putting in a little, like Yanla said, do your work. All right, we at 135. Before we jump off, is there any last pieces of bad advice that y'all wanted to cover right before we
I
we'll
got
give
one.
another. Okay,
I
go
got
ahead,
one.
Jules.
So about over a decade ago, someone gave me advice that at the time, because of who they were in my life, I was very offended that it was stated to me. I took it the completely wrong way. And as I changed and got out of that situation and evolved, it was like, oh, that was really sage advice. They told me
Okay.
some folks need to be fed with a long handled spoon. And at the time, because of the dynamics and everything, I took it as they were just trying to push me out of the scenario. But the reality of it is, some folks are best fed by a long handle spoon, because I can't sit here and hand feed you all day long, right up close. And to Denise's point earlier, taking my energy and vampires sucking off draining out my energy and my peace and
Right.
all of that. But that doesn't mean that I don't still have love for you. That doesn't mean that I'm not still here for you, that I'm not still going to
Right.
try and give you the benefit of some of my wisdom and knowledge and all of that. I just got to do it while you a little further out over there on the other side of my damn boundaries.
Yeah,
Perfect
no,
example of
that sounds
boundaries.
like good advice to me.
Perfect.
Sound like
Perfect
good
example of
advice.
boundaries. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because we all know people who will suck us dry if we let them.
Yeah,
So
you do. Yeah,
yeah,
you got to
that's
manage
not me.
stuff.
It's me not completely shutting you off, but definitely keeping your ass across the street. For sure.
Okay, let me ask real quick, Rhea, do you feel that in some of your relationships you have to deliberately maintain certain boundaries? Like, do you ever have those situations where, like, I have to feed you with this long spoon?
Oh yeah, definitely. After you hurt me,
Right.
I had a best friend since elementary school, actually. And when I was going through my divorce and going through court issues and single mother, just down and out, she borrowed some money from me, and like over $1,000. And I was supposed to be paying my lawyer with it, and she disappeared when it came time to pay it back. And hurt me so bad. I've never that's one thing that's a place that I can't go. We ended up being able to talk again, but I gotta keep that boundary. I don't deal with finances anymore. That hurt me way too much.
See, and that's commendable. See, that's my same line of thought. There's very little things that I'll do to throw a friend away. and I'm glad you didn't throw that friend away because of money, but you do have to redraw the lines after that. Okay, well, you ain't getting no more money from me.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, and whatever the case is, all right, hey, now I have to in order for me to continue being your friends, I have to redefine the boundaries so that I can continue a relationship with you. Otherwise, if I don't redefine the boundaries, we can't even have a relationship anymore. So I think hold on, Nikki. Denise first and then jump in, Nikki. Denise.
I just want to say that I don't think, if Ray had decided to discontinue the relationship, it wouldn't have been about finances. It would have been for the lack of care.
Principle.
You know what I'm going through.
Principle.
You know what I need this money for. And you don't even have the decency to communicate this to me in this moment. And that is the thing that is hurtful. If you don't have it, you don't have it. But also accepting something that you know you can't pay back, and you know the situation I'm in would be what the reason to
that is a deeper issue, on. Right? That is true.
It's not the
I
money.
Agree with that.
It could have been $1, but if
it's the money too. Part of it is the money, but it ain't just the money.
Huh?
I said it's the money too, but it ain't just the money. That is true.
Right.
I agree with that.
So as I was listening to Rhea talk and listening to you talk, Q, at what point though, because I always admire people who are able to adjust the boundaries with people who have crossed them, right? I don't believe that all people just have to be cut the fuck off. Like, I'm not saying that I'm just like an advocate of like touch you off the minute that you do something wrong. Like that's not how I operate unless that's where you take it, right? If you violate in a way in which I just can't fuck with you by principle, practice, theory at all, like I'm just not even gonna, like I value what you had, this is where this ends. So at what point does that friendship or that relationship dynamic become manipulative? At what point is this person now using me? At what point? Now, granted, I may be allowing them to use me, but at what point in reality is this relationship even like a two-way fucking street? Are we actually really friends, or does friends just sound good? And you taught me that, Q. You told me everybody's not a friend. Everybody, and that's okay. There's a lot of acquaintances. There's a lot of business associates. There's a lot of friends of friends. Like there's a lot of those things. But like for me, you just don't do your friend like that.
But
right?
Not just that. Okay, two things. Not just that. Number one, everybody ain't your friend. Most relationships are not mutually reciprocal. That's what I keep telling people all the time. You expect, because y'all friends, for the same person to pour into you the way that you pour into them. And in most cases, one person may not have the capacity to pour into the other person as the way that they do. So you shouldn't expect him to be, I don't expect all of my friends or most of my friends or a lot of my friends to be able to do for them mentally, emotionally, conversationally, all that, what I do for them.
Right.
Side note, I do this for a living. Like on and off, podcasting, and I do communication for a living. So if they are not able to communicate in the way that I am, or there's certain things that they do and they may not even understand it because they're not used to talking. It could be a lot of different things. That's all I'm saying. So that's number one. And then number two, to go back to what you were saying, Nikki, why were they my friend in the first place? I have to think about that before they did some effed up stuff. Why were they my friend in the first place? I go back to, I don't try, I do my best not to define a person by their worst moment. I always want to define them by the character of what they've shown me over a period of time.
Sure.
And if they show me something bad or messed up, I'll redefine that, because I'm not going to define our entire relationship based off of that one thing.
Right.
Now, if you keep doing it, that goes back to the manipulation and thing. It will speak for itself. But that's just the way I look at it.
I just know I feel like over the last couple of years, just renegotiating what I thought were friendships. That I've come to learn that there have been spaces I've been in where I was the friend, but I didn't actually have the friend in the same way that the person had me as the friend. And so I've had to just kind of reevaluate some of my relationships in general with people who I thought it was a reciprocal thing. And I don't mean reciprocal in the way that you give me exactly what I give you, but goddamn, you got to give me something. You got to
From that
give
which you
me
do
something,
have,
'cause
are you
I'm giving
returning
you a
it back?
lot.
Yeah.
But so
Yeah.
a lot of people will, they say takers take and givers give. And givers have to fucking really hone your space and your powers so that you aren't taken by the takers. And I think by default we're gonna be taken by some takers because it's in our nature to give. But that shit's not fun when you realize that this actually isn't really a two-way fucking street. This really actually is you kind of using me for whatever it is that you get from me. And it doesn't have to be money or sex or any of those things. It's just not reciprocal. And so at some point, for me, I've had to really define some relationships and some boundaries. And it kind of sucks at 45, but I'm okay with it because I'd rather know today than keep living in this fucking land of, oh, this is my friend, this is my friend, this is my friend, when no, I'm your friend. You're not really my friend.
Yes.
And that's not
correct.
because you can't give me what I give. You're not giving much of anything, really. You
Right.
just take and take and take.
Right.
So that's why I mentioned that. At what point is it me having to change boundaries versus, motherfucker, you're just using me at this point.
Well, I think you did what you needed to do is redefine what a friend is. And
True.
sometimes a lot of people, they have, poor definitions from the aspect you allow people to be in that friend circle when they never deserve to be there in the first place. So when you redefine that, then it makes things much more clear to you. Oh yeah, I'm cool with such and such. I don't know if we friends, but we cool.
Right.
And I keep you at the right, I keep you in the proper perspective.
Right. I just think it's important for people to consider when thinking about that whole let them go. If they love you, they're going to come back shit. Yeah. Look at that real objectively, man. It could be, it's a slippery slope.
I think that's more applicable when it comes to friendships than it does actually romantic relationships because, because you sometimes and that's the only way that like, am I the only one reaching out to you and you don't reach out to me? Or like, how in tune are you with me?
Right.
Even when I don't say I need you, are you in tune enough with me to know when I need someone and you reach out without like,
right.
Like certain things, like everything don't have to be, everything don't have to be spelled out.
True.
And I've got friends 36 years since freshman year of high school that, we don't talk. Sometimes some of us don't talk but a couple of times a year, but it's so weird. It's so bizarre because without even being on social media or seeing anything there, all of a sudden one of us will reach out to the other. And it's like, oh man, you had no idea, or because there is this weird connection. My parents always say if you get more than 5-10 friends maximum, like you don't have, that's not friends. Like anybody who says they got more than them you can count on your hands, they lying to themselves and to everybody else.
Jules, that's the truth. Jules, let me tell you something. I said this. Go back on High IQ. I did a show maybe a month or two ago. Like I think it was like 7 reasons why to hang on to your friends. Go back and listen to that. But when you got 6-7 real friends, like I really don't even have time for new friends. I don't have the time and space for new friends. All my friendship slots for my real friendship slots, they all filled up.
They full.
For real, like
right.
Yeah, the only reason I had openings because I moved 500 miles away from all of them.
Exactly.
Other than that, like I've got that here and I've got that there, and I wouldn't have expanded that because I didn't need to.
Yeah, but when you got real friends and you all, and that's like when you got real friends, you can only manage so many for most of them, unless you know. Now
Yeah.
my friend Blue and Chop, they got 500 friends. They manage it different. They born and raised here, and they just know everybody. That's the funniest thing in the world. You
Right.
just walking anywhere, and you just every 5 seconds they running into
Yeah.
somebody that they know. It's like it's
Yep.
funny.
Yeah, but those aren't like your inner circle though. But
Right. Not well.
Right.
Okay. So hold on. Let me say
Right.
this. For Blue, no, it's not his inner circle. Chop got 100 people in his inner circle. Like he got like they be at his house, the barbecuing. This is like not for real. I've never seen that many people have an inner circle that big. And that'd be his inner circle. His inner circle is deep for real. I ain't never seen that before. In all honesty, but yeah. All right. Hey, we at 149. All right. So did we get it all out?
So, I mean, I did. I don't know about y'all. How y'all feeling about bad advice or other bad advice or other advice that you think is bad? But yeah, and Joe B had actually posted something last week, and I don't even know what he was going through, but he was going through something, and he must have got some unsolicited ass advice because he posted. He was like, before you basically tell somebody something or advise somebody on something, do you ever stop to consider what the person has probably considered or how much the person has gone through, or like just like, do you even consider the other person before you give advice? And I was like, you know what? I was like, this is ironically our topic Tuesday. So I mean,
that's why you tagged him.
I did. And maybe that's the social media disconnect, right? Is that everybody feels like they're a fucking therapist, right? They always got something to say. And if you put it out there, then it's free game. Anybody can say something in return. But really, I do think that it's important. If you are going to be in a space where you give advice to people, you have to be very mindful of where people are coming from. And if you're not a good advice giver, then don't give advice. Just say, I'm not capable.
I don't know, Nikki.
I don't have the bandwidth for this right now.
I gotta go, y'all. Mom's here with me and she needs me, but I'm glad.
Oh, tell Mom we said hi.
Hey, Mom.
Everybody say, "Hey, Mom." Tell Mom I said hi.
Hey, Mom.
Thanks for being here tonight.
Have a good one. I remember her mama came to the meeting several years back.
She'll be here next Tuesday too, but it's not accessible where it is. I don't think is accessible where I was going to bring her. So last Tuesday, yeah. Gotcha. If it was accessible, I was going to do that.
I mean, we can get her. We can get her up in there. We just got to get her. We can get her up in there. Girl, we can make it work. We can get her up in there. If you want to bring her, you let us know.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it between now and then.
We gonna get her up in there.
Okay. Y'all have a good night.
Thanks for being here. Rhea, Denise.
You got anything else, Rhea, Denise, before we get out of here?
Oh, I didn't hear bad advice.
You said what about bad advice?
I said I didn't share any. I can't.
Okay, you got one? What you got?
Yeah, one was I always remember a friend told me, and she's still a friend. I still love her, but when I was having relationship problems, she was like, "Girl, what you need to do is late at night, you need to get all dressed up and just leave the house, go out and act like you were with somebody else." And I was like, no, I don't think that's good advice for me.
That is,
it's better.
I'm glad you did not listen to her.
A very turbulent relationship, and I was like, I don't want that.
Right.
No, yeah, you trying to provoke jealousy. That's not good. That's not good.
No.
That's not good advice. That's
horrible advice.
And I've seen that on many occasions, so I know it happens. But that's not good advice.
No.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that's
definitely not. And this is where it goes back to like who you take advice from. Everybody is not meant to give advice.
Right.
Denise, anything for you?
Yeah, can we do good advice next week?
With a positive spin.
We can.
Same thing, different spin.
Is next week our last? No, next week is not the last Tuesday. 17 days. Is next week last Tuesday, or do we have one more week before it's last Tuesday?
It's I don't know. Hold on a second. Let me see.
I'm on my phone, so I can't use my calendar.
No, we got 2 more. So it's the 23rd, and then we got the 30th is the last Tuesday.
Okay, so next week we'll do good advice. Hell yeah, absolutely.
There we go.
Let's do good advice. And then the last Tuesday we'll be up at the food truck. So for anybody who's still listening to us, we'll of course have details, all the information, of course, we have the Free Thinkers page. But the last Tuesday of the month, and every month we meet in person up at Dirty Glove Midwest Barbecue. It's food truck up off of Howard Lane with 35 in North Austin. And we'll meet from 8 till whenever. Q will always call the meeting at 10 o'clock. Like, the meeting's over. Y'all go home if you want to.
9:30. I'm calling the meeting.
But we usually go for a little bit. So y'all make sure that you stay tuned for the last Tuesday. But hell yeah, next Tuesday we'll do good advice. I like that suggestion, Denise. That's a good one.
That's what's up.
Good one.
All right, well, we're done. Thank everybody for watching. Everybody who commented, mentioned, liked, all of that stuff. Hey, Rhea, thank you for kicking it with us for a second. You live in Austin. Come see us live. Get out there in the heat.
Yeah, y'all come in 2 Tuesdays. Come hang out with us in 2 Tuesdays.
For sure. All right, good night, y'all.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, y'all.